that most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. And I've been that guy.
Oh my God.
You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away.
In a world dominated by political correctness, one voice stands out unfiltered, unapologetic, and unafraid to challenge the status quo. That voice is Joe Rogan.
We decided to have this conversation because of what's going on with you in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
And that your clinical psychology license is in jeopardy because you have opinions.
Joe Rogan, comedian, commentator, and host of one of the most popular podcasts in the world, has found himself at the center of the cultural storm. At a time when the line between acceptable speech and cancel culture seems to blur more each day, Rogan's relentless criticism of woke culture has made him a target and a hero. In recent years, the rise of what many call woke culture, a movement rooted in progressive ideals and social justice, has dramatically reshaped the cultural landscape. From media to universities, wokeness has pushed for greater awareness of issues like racism, sexism, and privilege. But with that movement comes a wave of criticism, and no one has been more vocal about it.
But saying that it gets you orgasmic, that's a strange thing to say.
Well, that's...
I know you're being serious, but I mean, no one will understand that.
Rogan has never shied away from controversial topics: race, gender, free speech, you name it, he's covered it. But it's his critique of woke culture that has sparked heated debates. According to Rogan, the movement, which once aimed to promote fairness and equity, has morphed into a system that punishes dissent, stifling open conversation and debate.
I think probably the Democratic Party was the party of meritocracy and of personal freedom.
Yeah.
They used to be the free speech party.
Yeah.
And these days they seem to be the censorship party under the guise of hate speech.
Yeah.
The Joe Rogan Experience is more than just a podcast. It's a cultural hub for debate and free thinking. Rogan invites guests from all walks of life, including those who challenge woke narratives. From Elon Musk to Jordan Peterson, these conversations dive deep into the impact woke culture has had on freedom of expression.
It's a really ugly thing to see. So yeah, not good. Not good.
Yeah, so my view is that at this point in the United States, the Republican Party is more in line with meritocracy and with personal freedom.
Rogan's platform allows for long-form discussions, breaking away from sound bites and sensationalism that dominate much of today's media. This makes his podcast a place for more nuanced takes, yet it's also made him a target of those who champion woke culture.
And in 2020, Joe Rogan's podcast was signed in an exclusive deal by Spotify for $100 million. The format is simple. A vast array of guests talk with him about a vast array of subjects.
In 2020, Rogan signed an exclusive deal with Spotify worth $100 million, cementing his influence as one of the most powerful voices in media. But with great power comes great scrutiny. Soon after the deal, calls to censor or even remove Rogan from the platform erupted. The reason? His so-called problematic guests, views on free speech, and criticism of woke ideologies. Critics labeled Rogan irresponsible for platforming guests who question established progressive ideas. Some even demanded that certain episodes be removed. But Rogan stood firm, emphasizing the importance of open dialogue, even with controversial figures.
Is isolated.
Nothing is isolated in this particular cosmos.
You were talking, I watched a video where you were talking about that there is essentially a universal brain.
It's not just in conversation where Rogan tackles woke culture, he's also taken aim at it through his comedy. Known for his bold, in-your-face humor, Rogan uses his stand-up performances to call out what he sees as the absurdities of modern-day cancel culture. Comedy, according to Rogan, is under siege. In a time when jokes are dissected for offensiveness, he believes comedy's original purpose to challenge societal norms and make people uncomfortable is being lost.
Thinking of this while you're saying it? Are you thinking of the vast numbers of people that are listening and watching, or are you just relaying the information? Like, are you cognizant?
Yeah, both.
For Rogan, wokeness is not just an ideological difference. It's a threat to free speech and intellectual freedom. While supporters of woke culture argue that it's about creating safer, more inclusive environments, Rogan counters that its methods are authoritarian and often hypocritical. Despite the criticism, Rogan's influence continues to grow. His ability to bring important topics to the forefront has gained him both allies and enemies. His stance against woke culture resonates with millions who feel that their voices are being drowned out by a progressive mainstream. Joe Rogan remains a controversial figure, but one thing is certain: he's a relentless defender of free speech, unafraid to question the prevailing narratives of our time. In a world where opinions are often silenced, Rogan's voice cuts through, challenging us to think critically and speak openly, no matter the consequences. The battle for free speech and the fight against woke culture continues. And Joe Rogan is right at the center of it.